We are the Master Traitors podcast.
We are the Master Traitors podcast.
We are the Master Traitors podcast.
Geekcast.
Oh, and we're back. I feel like maybe we should just stop wearing the traitor hoods because Danielle is the worst. But I don't care. They're still fashionable.
Man.
And we are back, of course, where we left off. Well, first, I'm your snake daddy, your cheeseburger princess, your shitposter supreme Matt Keck. Alongside me is the light of my life.
Paul, Delores, do you know how numbers work? Shields.
I'm going to answer that for Delores. The answer is no. She doesn't understand how any of this works.
Oh, my goodness.
She's playing an entirely different game than everyone else in this castle.
She was playing the exact same game as Tom.
Yes. Yeah, and he's the and
Weirdly.
he left, so now now he's
Then they
gone.
started voting for each other.
I love how she, by the way, well, we'll get to it, but she's so unfazed by the Tom news. But for those of you who are just joining along, we're watching the Traitors US Season 3. It's streaming on Peacock, and we are two comedians from Kansas City who play a lot of what's called Ultimate Werewolf. It's basically the board game version of the Traitors. We used to play this at Comic-Cons. We'd play it all weekend. We'd play it with drunks and sobers and highs and buys and tries.
Toss and twist.
You know what? We would throw in the twist. We'd have the powers. This time we talk about the seer. Well, the seer is a power from Ultimate Werewolf. So if you play games like these, you kind of get where they're borrowing all this from. And since we know all these ins and outs, we like to break down the episodes and talk about strategy. And we're starting with Danielle's incredible streak of terrible strategy as she chooses to recruit the person who even says it's way too obvious when she's getting recruited.
Yep.
Britney, who walks in, sees Danielle at the bottom of the castle. She's 0% surprised that it's Danielle. I mean, of course she accepts. It's not like she
has to, or she
doesn't
gets.
have an
It's not like
option.
she has a choice.
Yeah,
I mean, she could just quit the game.
Yeah, she could be like, oh, no, I'm out. Like, I guess, but who would do that?
That's not. That doesn't make sense of a choice.
They have a little bit of a cry moment. I hate them so much.
Oh my goodness!
Danielle immediately takes to talking shit on Carolyn when they get to the turret. Like immediately,
she couldn't. Yeah,
fuck
my
Danielle
goodness.
forever. I'm glad this is the choice she made because strategically it was one of the dumbest things she could have possibly done, and honestly, it sets Britney up to potentially win the whole game.
I think so. She even when she says Danielle says you're my person.
Yeah.
And she also says it again later on to Dylan, but
I know
she says you're my person.
She loves saying
to Britney.
That people are her person,
and I could see Britney did like a smirk, and I couldn't tell if it was a smirk of like a I got your number. I know what's going on here. I'm not gonna let you do, or if it was just a smirk of she wasn't sure exactly, a little uncomfortable or whatever, but. At this point, if I'm Britney, and she recruits me, she's gonna recruit me, and I find out it's Danielle, I automatically am going into
gonna turn on her.
Gotta save myself.
Yeah, because you already know everyone's on Danielle.
Everyone's on Danielle.
The gun's already on Danielle.
Number one, everyone's on Danielle. Number two, she turned on Danielle in the reindeer games deal, and she made it pretty apparent at the beginning of the deal whether she says she's not now or not. And number three, she sees exactly what she did to Carolyn.
Oh yeah,
and what she did. She voted against
Boston Rob too.
Boston Rob.
She's turned on all of the other traitors.
And she also voted against Bob the Drag Queen.
She sure did,
and she admitted it many times as defense.
Oh, yes.
At the round tables because she's had to defend herself many times.
She talked about how she's killed all the other traitors.
She's like,
anyone who comes in there.
And she says it. I voted for him twice before he was Boston Rob was voted out.
It's honestly kind of funny because Danielle, even being in this position automatically, is in such a position of weakness that she created for herself because she just killed the other traitor. She wouldn't have had to recruit someone else had she not just got the other traitor killed. Now, at this point, the only other person people are looking at is you. So no matter who comes in, Britney obviously great, but no matter who it was, all they got to do is just go at you. That's all they have to do.
Oh, yeah. There is, if you are there and you see Danielle as the person, this is you immediately, if you're not thinking that she's going to turn on you.
Yeah.
You obviously have not been following the game.
Yeah, and you know this is the time. There's too much momentum against her.
Because that's the other move that people do when they bring you in, is they use it to throw you under the bus. Somebody that they can throw under the bus. So
you got to be ready to roll under that bus.
So you've got to throw her under the bus
Yeah.
before she does you.
Yep. So we get a little shirtless Dylan. They're going to try to protect him and Delores and maybe kill Ivar. Britt spills that Tom and Gabby are both kind of going at Danielle.
Danielle is super, so excited about Britney being with her now.
Yeah,
she is like
it's crazy.
Schoolgirl. I'm like, man, I hate Danielle. I'm sorry.
I think the internet all does, so I think it's okay. I don't think we have to apologize. It turns out we were on the right side of history, as was Carolyn. Danielle's the worst. And so I honestly think Brittany's actually kind of already playing Danielle here when they kill Tom. Because Ivar was a very sensical and obvious choice, and Tom had literally just brought up Danielle before. I think Britney baited her into killing Tom.
Well, I think, we talked about it before. The obvious choice was Gabby.
Right.
Gabby is the obvious choice, not Tom.
Gabby, and if they really wanted her out of the game, which they clearly were going to try to, later on in this episode, or even like right after this, they talk about how they need to go after her. Why didn't they kill her?
Yeah.
Tom isn't going to be able to formulate a plan against you. Tom doesn't have any evidence. Tom doesn't have the evidence of the bookcase.
No.
Why?
She has so much.
Yes.
You know what? Everyone has so much evidence against
Danielle.
And
I know.
One of the most damning things is the deal where she went after the pictures.
Yeah.
When they were doing the pictures, it was so obvious, and everyone saw that she went and she didn't care about her picture, and it was an entire mess.
I'm surprised no one's brought that back up. But I mean, I know they trimmed down the round table a lot.
I know they do, but you
would think that would come up more.
I know. I'm sure Gabby would have said it in her
you
deal.
Would think so.
Because she was sure unloading with some.
Dylan is just completely shook. So we get to breakfast. Dylan is so shook. He comes in with Danielle. He just doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't trust Gabby. Delores comes in. She still thinks it's Tom at this point. Britney doing well. Just keeping the facial expressions normal. She brings that up. Gabby calls the traitors unhinged, which cracks me up, and she is right. They are all crazy people. 100%.
Oh yeah, she says they're clinically insane or something like that.
Yes. Yes.
All the traitors are.
Yes, and she knows it's Danielle, and she's saying it right to her face. It's so funny. I have learned that Gabby, not only are you so smart, because you actually are so smart. You are by far my favorite this season. You have won my top spot. You're incredible. So she knows it's Danielle, and then they kill Tom, which I think is a terrible move, as we've discussed. Yes. He's an easy person to keep along.
Felt it was Gabby, but then when I was thinking about it, and I think maybe if you are Danielle, you kill one of the people that's close to you.
I think she should have.
Just so you have an out.
Well, and then the heat's off you. Should have killed Delores. Yeah. Dolores isn't voting with you anyway. She throws off your game plan over and over.
You've got an out of, you can get it off of you. Why would I have killed Dolores? She was one of my trusted people.
Exactly. Well, Tom's got his ego in full gear when he finds out he got killed. He expected to die. He did not expect that he would be so good at this game. I'm so good at it. He said he was a pleasure to work with. That's obvious. I mean, who doesn't love calling themselves a pleasure to work with? What? That's the one thing you say about other people.
I was a pleasure to work with.
He was a pleasure to work with. I was valued. I was respected. Man, just because you say it, this is Michael Scott. This is Michael Scott declaring bankruptcy.
Oh my goodness!
He's saying all these things. It doesn't make it true.
He's so clueless. Jeez, Tom.
And then, of course, Alan in his outfit, a nice little blue number, little boy blue. I started with a little bit of a. You know what? I actually liked this, even though I feel like this is a divisive look. I could have gone low, but as I was looking at it, I liked the division of black and blue. I gave it a 4 out of 5, but when he upgrades to the full-on neck
he puts the car air filter on his neck?
He gets the car air filter on the neck. He does the whole, like lattice fence deal. You know, listen, that's clearly 5s across the board. Let's not joke.
What do you think about Gabby coming in looking like wearing, like, one of those, the thing you put your clothes in so they don't get wrinkled on your trip? Bags.
She did kind of have one of those the dry cleaner
Dylan's
bags.
like, can you even move your arms? No, she said. Yeah.
She Gabby slays. Gabby's outfits are incredible. I do love that Alan dropped the line, "For once, Tom, you were faithful." Gotta love it. Stick it to Tom on the way out.
Oh yeah.
Fuck you, Tom, but you were very entertaining, so thank you.
Alan.
I love that Ivar finds out that they're going to have to do a memory challenge and immediately says, I can't even remember anyone's name, so I'm not going to remember nothing. Like, get him, Ivar. Get him. They're all worried about what the power will be. They act like they're going to be surprised, which is funny because Dylan's already told them what it is, but I'm sure they've been told to act.
I will say right now, before the deal comes on or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Very surprised. First time I've ever seen Danielle.
Yeah.
Trying to throw out a faithful's name to get banished at the round table.
That's true. That's true. She's going after Gabby, and it's
first time working on getting a faithful banished.
And it's funny because at the very beginning they have Gabby and Danielle drinking together, and it's super awkward as they like try to pretend they're not going head to head, but they both know. Danielle wants her out. Delores trusts Danielle. Ivar and Dylan trust each other, but Ivar's also thinking Danielle. He's pretty set on it. Dylan isn't sure. Dylan has never trusted Gabby, which I read wrong. Apparently, he legitimately thought Gabby was a person this whole time.
Yeah.
So Gabby goes and tells Britney she thinks there's 2 left.
And after when he said Gabby,
yeah,
Ivar was like, well, so should I go for Gabby?
Yeah, Ivar's willing to follow Dylan. He understands the numbers.
Yes.
He understands the numbers. So Delores, we'll see how she feels about numbers. I think we got a spoiler alert on that. She doesn't understand numbers. So Gabby tells Britney she thinks there's 2 left. She thinks it's Delores and Danielle. Britney turns basically immediately and starts talking to other people about Gabby. Then we get Gabby and Danielle in the chairs. In one of my favorite scenes, they're just both sitting there in the awkward silence, and Gabby's like, I'm not fucking getting up.
She's making faces.
And Danielle's like, I'm about to end you. I'm gonna obliterate you. I'm gonna destroy you. I just want to remember how much she said she was going to obliterate Gabby when we tally the votes tonight.
And then
Gabby specifically, she was gonna obliterate. We'll tally Gabby's votes at the end of the night.
Gabby's in the room making these faces, and then she goes, I'm in the room with a cold-blooded killer. She cracks me up. And she's so straight-faced on this stuff, too.
She's so good. And if you haven't, watched her social videos, she's insane on TikTok. Not in a bad way. She just always has quotes that are just very Gabby. She's hilarious. Dylan remains shook, but it's time for our game. It's time for a stroll down memory lane. Nathan's younger brother. Memory lane. Now, in this game, they can earn up to $30,000 total dollars, or as I will remind everyone, just $10,000 more than the amount they left on the final platform in the very first challenge.
Where they would have just had to get one.
Indeed, just
Instead
one
of go through
thing.
however many different deals.
In fact, most of the people who were still on that boat aren't in the game anymore, but regardless, I guess they don't care about the money. Now, the most gold in this game, because there's a challenge, in each challenge you can get different amounts of gold. Whoever's the most gold at the end will get the power of the seer. Now, if you aren't following along yet, the seer is an ability where someone can choose one other player, ask them one-on-one directly, are you a traitor or a faithful? And they have to answer it truthfully no matter what. Which is fun because then people have to decide whether or not they trust the seer and who the seer is.
Yeah.
And
Dylan even says that he wants to make sure he gets to be the seer.
Yes.
Because he wants to... I found this odd because through this whole thing, he says he wants to get the seer so he can find out who the traitor is, so he can be on their good side at the end and know who they are.
Right.
By knowing who they are. Which is
smart.
Opposite of what he's been doing, which is trying to get them out.
Right.
Which is what we've been saying the whole time.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Which I thought he was doing, which is supposed to be getting a traitor and staying close to them and have them carry you through.
Right.
This seems like the time, though, that you don't do that.
Right.
Because you've already had you're probably, they're not going to put another one in.
Yeah.
You know?
Now it's time to get rid of, if you know they're there, might as well get rid of them.
Right.
Agreed. We start with creepy clowns. The creepy clowns all have gold balloons. And there is 15 of them. 15 of these balloons. If you pop them, you get $500. 5 of the balloons, if you pop it, it's a skull. Now, if you hit the skull, you're not only out, you also lose all previous money that you got from other balloons. The creepy clowns do a nice little 3-card Monty 15 clown design. Gabby says, I was an NFL cheerleader for 5 years. I've never seen formations like this. So I trust an expert like Gabby. I've also not seen formations like this. I think maybe we had the Jabberwockies up in that shit. So we start popping.
Are we going to just skip over Ivar looking like he's on Golden Pond?
I mean, I'm here for it.
With the freaking hat.
He does look like on Golden Pond.
I was like, he's going to get on a boat and freaking sail out there.
Absolutely incredible. Yeah. For my 30th birthday, we did a gold birthday party. And everything had to be gold themed, and we wanted to do shots, and so we came up with the Golden Pond Jello shot. Which was blue Jello shots with a Swedish fish inside it. I mean, they were good, but anyways, Ivar, my guy. Let me tell you, you can be fashionable. Maybe you could have worn what Gabby was wearing. You know what? Don't doubt yourself.
Oh, that's why I need to switch up. Where's my hat? Okay.
Oh, you got a new hat?
Well, I probably had an on Golden Pond hat somewhere in here.
Oh yeah. I believe you could have an on Golden Pond hat. I feel like
I do.
I feel like you're a big fan. I feel like you probably watch at least once a year, right? Totally.
Yeah, me and Henry Fonda are.
Oh yeah, you gotta love Henry. So Dylan out instantly. He's like, I gotta follow these things. I gotta follow it. And I love poor Dylan. In all these games, he's like, he knows exactly how to play them, but then he's not very good at them. He always gets out. Ivar and Danielle both pop one, get 500, sit it out. Gabby pops one, goes a second one, hits a skull. So Britney and Delores, they each pop 2 and sit out. So they're sitting ahead right now at 1,000. The Traitors are coming out pretty good early on, and that honestly, they both have fairly good luck. We move on to these weird...
Yeah, because Delores has
Delores has 1,000,
1,000.
but Britney's tied with her right now.
Yeah, and
Danielle has 500,
yeah,
and so does Ivar.
Yep.
Now the weird dolls come out, and they're sitting in rocking chairs holding the old dolls from the other episode. Now the idea here is that you pull the string, and then like Woody, there's a snake in my boot. It says an amount of money in a creepy like Scottish ghost accent. Like, oh, that's $1,200. That was kind of like what they did. And then you pull it again, it's like
close. That's pretty good.
$1,400.
Have you been practicing that?
$1,600. And then if you go too far, it goes up. You a true greedy. Sorry. And so they have to stop before it runs out. Delores goes first. She gets 1,400 and stops. She's sitting good. She's got exactly 2,400. So then Britney does the exact same thing right after. Gets the exact same amount. They're tied still. So Gabby's like, fuck it. I gotta go. Pulls.
Yeah, but she had to. She had no money.
She did. And Ivar knew he was behind, but went a little further than he needed to. Got out. Now Danielle, dirty Danielle, gets in there and gets the $2,000 baby doll. I swear. And Dylan's last and knows that he's screwed because he got no money in the first one. He pulls.
And keeps pulling.
And he pulls.
And he pulls.
And he pulls. And then he's out with no money as we head into the final challenge of the 3 stages of hell. The gold coins. They have a bunch of gold coins in bags throughout the forest that they have to go get out and then put the coins into a cage that they then lift up to the sky. It's supposed to be reminiscent of when we got Boston Rob and Wes and Derek. May they all R.I.P.P. in peace. Now, they get to these bags, and apparently they're filled with, they say poop, but it just looks like wet leaves to me.
It looks like leaves. They say it smells.
They're like,
maybe it's moldy
like
or something.
Yeah, I mean, or maybe they're just pampered, but I do love, my manicure is devastated. She's not going to get out whatever went under those nails.
Danielle does say as they're going through, so she says she doesn't want, the person she specifically picks out is Gabby.
Yeah.
That she doesn't want her to be the seer.
Because she's worried that she'll pick her because she knows that it's her.
Right. But that seems foolish.
Yeah, you should be worried about the people who don't know for sure.
Right.
Especially Dylan.
Yeah.
And the way she's playing, once again, 2 games in a row, the Traitors start tipping off Dylan by the way they play the game.
Yeah.
She gets way too aggressive in this last round. It's insane. I do love that Dylan says one of the bags exploded on his face. And Alan says, oh, don't you hate it when that happens? That was too British. It should have been Scottish. Anyways, but Dylan's getting on to Danielle. Now, the thing I don't like is what we find out at the end of the game. And that is that the seer is getting withheld until after the round table.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of that.
Yeah. And they don't tell you that until...
They didn't tell them that until
they start
after
the round table.
Game. Yeah. And so it's like...
They don't even mention the damn thing.
Yeah, so that's kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
You could end up just killing the seer and then losing them. So we get back to the house.
So they were doing the coins,
yes.
right? To put their coins
They got to put them in the cages, yeah.
If I were here... I think if I was Gabby, I knew I was out of money, I wasn't going to do it.
You're going to team up with someone else?
I think I would start putting my coins in somebody else's box.
Team up with like a Dylan or an Ivar that you trust at this point?
Somebody that I could say, hey,
I'm going to help you. If you become the seer, you can look at Danielle. I know they don't think about the outside of they don't think outside the box on the rules.
She had no way to win really there.
Yeah,
because she was out to zero money.
Honestly, Ivar's the one you should team up with here, right? He's got 500.
I thought it was Delores, but Delores she already thinks Delores is with her.
Right.
So Ivar is the guy to team up with,
and Dylan and Gabby should both team up here because they have no money. They should just put all their coins in on Ivar.
Yeah,
that would have been the move. You're right.
They both have no money. They both are pretty sure Ivar's not a.
This is why we should both get put into the Traitors, but no one would know who either of us are. We're just Traitors podcasters, right? and they should put both of us in there. And then wasn't there normal people in the first season?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had normal people, and then a couple that weren't. Then couple reality guys.
Alan, come on, let's go.
But then they switched it, they switched it up on the second season, and it became much more popular. With
fair. Hey, you know what? That's fair. But you just need us. Well, and you can pretend. Give us a reality show after it's over.
Yeah.
Put us on the Traitors.
Yeah, if you put us on there, then we're celebrities.
Yeah, and then you can start a show about us. It'll be great. People will love that.
Yeah.
Trust me, people will love it.
And
Alan, come on. Alan, we would win this shit. And we'd make it so interesting.
It's not like we'd...
we'll give you moments.
You don't have a thing. You kind of have a thing.
Yeah, I've got some things.
You got some things.
I got half a thing.
I got some things.
Yeah, he's got things.
Look at
his thing.
Have you seen my things?
I've tried to look for his thing.
Yeah. It's not as big as your things, but it's a thing.
They're things. We have so many things.
Come on, Alan.
Come on, Alan. I'm gonna start DMing
Check
him.
our things out.
I'm gonna start DMing him.
Look at our things, Alan.
I'm like, Alan, look at my thing in his DMs over and every day.
Look at Paul's smaller Asian thing.
Here's Paul's thing. So Dylan and Gabby start talking. Gabby really lays out her case for Danielle here to Dylan. And I think this is the moment that was very important for Gabby in this because Dylan was torn. And then Gabby brings up the bookcase with Carolyn. He brings up the traitor on traitor action. Dylan, and at this point, I think this is the point that Dylan is like, yeah you're right.
And here's where I'm... Yeah, he does this. She calls him out and he goes, "She's got to be real quick." When she sits down, and I forgot about the behind the bookcase. Well, mainly because they didn't really act
bring
like
it back
it was
up.
a thing.
Yeah,
I was like, I guess they didn't see anything, but she did see that.
Yeah, I think they've just been cutting around it.
That's and at the end of that, he was like, "Jesus,
it's pretty damning
evidence."
Yeah. And so then,
and he says, where evidence is so hard to come by.
Yeah.
You cannot ignore the evidence that is there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Danielle she's like the O.J. Simpson of evidence for traitors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. That's a lot of evidence. But then this is what happens. Dylan says, now he's trying to get a traitor out at the round table. So he switched again.
Mm-hmm.
Before he said
he wasn't gonna.
He wants to find the traitor
and ride him to the end.
Yeah. But now he wants to get them out.
Yeah. Hey, he got shook.
He's kind of all over the place.
He got shook. But to be fair, now that he thinks it's Danielle, and then Danielle's next move of coming in and just like trying to play him so hard because he's honest with her. He's like, "Hey, it's either you or Gabby," and she's like, "I'm so hurt. I'm so hurt. I'm so hurt. Shut the fuck up, Danielle. Shut up."
You know what? One thing that Danielle didn't do?
What's that? Say she wasn't a traitor?
Say she wasn't a traitor?
That's the easiest thing in the world to do, too. She just said,
I'm
so hurt.
Not once.
I know.
I was just sitting there waiting. Is she going to say she's not a traitor?
Yeah.
No.
She says she's not so hurt.
No.
She just gaslights.
I mean, I'm not a traitor, right?
Just
That's
gaslights.
something. That's easy.
And he's pretty polite here. Like, he's just like, hey, listen, I'll listen to the arguments at the table.
And he's already had to listen through that with Carolyn, who
he's already gone through
played
it.
on his emotions.
Yeah, he's already gone through it.
But Carolyn actually said she wasn't a traitor.
Yeah, I know.
To him,
right?
So
right, she actually lied. Where Danielle just said, Danielle just played against him, like I'm so hurt. So Britney comes in right after he leaves. Yeah. And they start talking about how Dylan is maybe not thinking Gabby and maybe thinking her, and they start spinning out. They're trying to find the numbers, and this is where they go to talk to Delores, and Delores is like,
Delores,
I think it's Ivar. She thinks it's Ivar, and Brittany's like, no, we need you to vote with us. Do you understand how numbers work, Delores?
She's like, there's not that many even.
She doesn't understand how the numbers work. It's bad. Now, Ivar is on Danielle, for sure. Yeah. And Ivar is talking to Britney about it, and he says, It's a game, sweetheart. She'll truly understand.
Yeah, she's all shaking. That is one thing.
This
also,
editing-wise, might be something that comes up as what they put that in specifically of him telling her it's a game before they show us.
One thing I forgot
happens.
to mention is at the breakfast.
Yeah,
because Britney had just been recruited, right?
Yeah, she
comes in. She is now all smiles, talking with people. She even mentions talkative. She's like, now she's I like, I'm just acting normal. I'm just acting normal. But no, you're not.
Yeah, she was smiling a lot.
You're never talking stuff at those freaking breakfast things. You are much different than you normally are.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And you could excuse a little bit of it for there being less people, but it was a drastic change. I think Britney needs to vote for Danielle. And so we go to the round table. I've been saying it, obviously, the whole time. I wrote it again here.
Yeah.
Britney should do it.
She should vote for Danielle. Danielle, that's the
move.
Move.
That's the easiest move.
From the beginning, I was like, once you get in here, you voted for Danielle.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to go against you, or she might not, because she's smitten with you for some reason. She's went against the game. Danielle is not playing the game as much as she says she's playing the game.
No,
she is not.
No, she's just a weirdo that has no friends and is playing this weird game of thinking she might get a friend.
I guess. I guess that's the deal. It's just, man, because this is how. Yeah, you get her before she gets you.
I swear to God. So Alan comes in. Lets us know that they won $14,300 from the game, or $5,700 less than the amount they left on the first platform in the first challenge. They are currently now at $166,800. And we start the round table. Britney starts us off. Says Gabby was isolated at the beginning, was a mean girl, wasn't talking to everyone. It's honestly a pretty weak argument, which makes me believe that to some degree Britney's not sure what her move is early on.
Yeah, no, it's a horrible
It's pretty weak
argument. No evidence of anything.
And so Gabby immediately flips the aim to Danielle, of course. Talks traitor on traitor action.
When Britney says that to her, she just says, oh, yeah, that's... No evidence.
Yeah, she's like, that's nothing. And I actually think Gabby crushes this thing. Everything that Danielle tries to bring up, Gabby goes, oh, yeah, me too. She's like, I voted for Rob twice. Yeah, me too. I did this. Yeah, me too. It shook Danielle every time because everything Danielle thought she had as evidence against Gabby, which was nothing, like everything she had to defend herself of why she wasn't a traitor also applied to Gabby. But she couldn't defend against the actual evidence.
Yeah, which there was a bunch.
Danielle looks so guilty right now, but Delores keeps bringing up Ivar. Now, you get the looks between Britney and Danielle when she brings up Ivar, and it does seem like, now, if anyone's following along and would like to follow our other podcasts, you should follow The Bottom Boys, where we talk about nonverbal communication.
Oh, yeah.
And these two nail the nonverbal communication in this moment. They see Delores talking about Ivar, and they shift their entire game plan because they realized they don't have the votes on Gabby.
And I think they talked beforehand.
Yeah.
They obviously talked beforehand.
Totally.
There's no way that they did it right in the moment.
But then they had but then they gave each other.
If it looks like it's going to.
If we're losing on Gabby, switch to Ivar because that's what Delores is voting.
But it was kind of obvious though.
The eyes,
at them.
Yeah.
Yes.
If the editing happened the way that happened, that was very obvious because Danielle's eyes were so shifty. It was insane.
Danielle cannot hide her eyes. She's got big old eyes.
Yeah, looking like a damn LOL doll out here. Yeah. Listen, Ivar votes Danielle. Delores votes Ivar. Danielle, read the moment, votes Ivar. Gabby, obvious, votes Danielle. Britney followed the leader, paid attention, voted Ivar. Now, I think that's the wrong move here. She should have just went ahead and pulled the trigger on Danielle when she realized the momentum, but okay. Dylan votes for Danielle. Tie ball game.
Absolutely the wrong move to vote for Ivar there.
Yes, 100%. Makes you look guilty when you lose.
She had not brought up Ivar at all.
Not once.
No one brought up Ivar.
In fact, multiple times throughout the game, she has specifically talked about how Ivar is not a traitor because he's nothing more than a bag of tea.
Mm-hmm. And the only person she talked about was Gabby.
Yep.
The only person that said anything about Ivar was Delores, and it was no evidence whatsoever. No one's had any evidence against Ivar the entire time. And then all of a sudden she says Ivar.
And so when this vote drops, I'm pretty sure, and I said this multiple times, and so maybe I'm giving him too much credit, but I feel like Dylan saw exactly how the cards played out this time. I think he saw what was going on and knows who the traitors are now.
Oh, I think it's.
I think
he's
so.
got to know. Yes,
he at least will after this final vote that we don't get to see.
Danielle has. You don't. There's not enough people there.
Yeah.
There's a small amount of people. It's very easy to read that vote.
Yes.
There's that vote for Ivar by Britney tells the whole story
of what happened. If you're paying attention, it was very obvious.
You cannot. Otherwise, she would have voted for Gabby.
Yes, 100%. Why did she change her vote?
Her deal was Ivar should even be onto this.
Yeah.
If she changed her vote to, if she had stayed with Gabby, if she was so concerned about it, like she told Ivar she couldn't vote against her friend, then she would have voted for Gabby.
And I think the biggest thing here is Danielle at this point has lost. Once you've decided that you have to vote Ivar because you haven't convinced Delores to go Gabby, Danielle has lost, but Britney is still trying to help her from a losing position. You see, Britney should have jumped ship right here and let Danielle lose because I understand if she should have voted Gabby and let Danielle lose. And that way she doesn't have to vote Danielle. Danielle loses. She didn't do anything wrong. She just, misread the communication. Instead, now she clearly is on Team Danielle, who is potentially about to be revealed as a traitor.
And she is. She voted her switching and not going for Danielle, not going for Gabby.
Yeah.
Automatically makes... She is the traitor.
Absolutely.
There's no way.
When we go to the final plea, they're going to do a re-vote, and the two people who are up no longer get to vote. So here's the deal. You've got your two traitors. One of them is Britney, who you think is on your side right now. Delores, who's voting for Ivar. So you assume you have your two Ivar votes.
Mm-hmm.
The only person you can convince on the other side is Dylan. You're not convincing Gabby. You just win at her. So the only person you can convince is Dylan. Now, unfortunately, the only person you have to choose from to try to convince Dylan is a guy he will literally never vote for because that guy is 100% obviously a faithful. So Danielle has already lost this. Britney didn't play it all the way through in her head when she voted for Ivar because Danielle has already lost the position. Even if she didn't die at the table, even if it's a tie, because what happens is they get to do a final plea.
Mm-hmm.
She begs Dylan again, and then they vote again. And Dylan immediately votes for Danielle again. He doesn't fall for it. Obvious. It wasn't a good plea. It was fine. And Ivar just goes, what the fuck is going on? Why am I even up? And so Delores doesn't change. She votes Ivar because she's an idiot. And Gabby and Dylan don't change. They vote for Danielle.
Yes.
We get left in the moment of Britney deciding if she's going to still go ahead and jump ship now or if she's going to just go down with the ship. But either way, Britney fucked herself by voting for Ivar.
Yeah.
I think she can still win. Don't get me wrong. I think there's still a high probability of winning because she could just be like, well, Danielle was my friend and blah, blah, blah. But it's a bad look. You're going into this as probably the last traitor in the game, and now you got stank on you.
Yeah.
When you could have come in with no stank. You could have been stank-free.
And Britney is the one that even said, Delores, do you not know the numbers?
Yes, and she didn't.
How numbers work?
And then she didn't count the numbers.
They don't know the numbers.
Yeah,
because
I
do.
And there's not that many of them.
They were trying to be a little
Brittany,
smart
there wasn't
with
that many
going
of the
for
numbers.
Ivar, but if you go away and don't vote Gabby,
Yep.
the most that's going to happen is the tie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the tie.
Right.
If you do vote for Gabby,
then Danielle's out, and she's a traitor, and you don't look bad, and you didn't vote for your friend.
Right, but if they hadn't done the deal where they decided to go and vote for Ivar in the first place,
Yeah.
and just stuck with Gabby,
Right. Could have maybe convinced Dylan.
they wouldn't have the numbers anyway.
Right. Yeah, Delores wasn't going for it.
No.
Yep.
Doris was not going there.
Britney didn't understand how numbers
because
work.
their only thing
this whole time didn't understand.
It was going to be the same no matter what. It was going to rely on Dylan.
I'm calling this episode How Numbers Work.
Yeah. This is how numbers work.
It's just like when you're playing a trading card game. There's points in a trading card game where you can look at the cards, you can look at your hand, and you can play 5 rounds into the future and see there's no mathematical way for you to come out. Yeah. Now, if you're playing with someone and you can do that math and you can avoid that fallout, do the fucking math, Britney. Damn, girl.
Ivar and Gabby are voting for Danielle.
Bingo.
They know that for sure. That's
100%.
2. If you and Britney vote for Gabby, that's
2.
If the other person votes for Ivar,
then you need to convince
that leaves
last
the third
person
to break the tie. That would have broke the tie on 2 and 2, right?
Yep.
Okay. If you go with Ivar,
yep.
Now you get a tie unless Dylan.
Yeah, and he's not gonna.
However, he breaks the tie.
Yeah.
It was going to be the tie no matter what. It wouldn't have been a tie to break.
Right.
He would have done whatever. Even if he would have voted for Gabby.
Yep.
Let's say he voted for Gabby. And because if he, at this point, if he had voted for Gabby instead of voting for Danielle, how many would that be? Oh, that would have been 3.
Yeah.
I guess that would have been.
There would have been a tie there.
Yeah.
They could have convinced. They could have got Gabby out if they really played Dylan. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But they couldn't play him because he already saw all the evidence.
That was the only way for them to win, was to get him.
Convince Dylan.
Because to get him to vote for Gabby, and they vote for Gabby.
Yeah,
that was the only way.
And
Ivar, the thing was not going to work.
No,
I don't know how they thought that was going to work.
It was a terrible plan B. Who's your top 3? Worst plan B I've seen in a long time.
It's gonna. Well, the traitors have outed themselves. I don't. Gosh, I say that every time though, and nobody freaking goes back. But Danielle for sure.
Danielle's outed. She's gone.
She's outed. So even if Britney doesn't vote out,
Danielle's not winning regardless.
Yeah. Then Ivar goes. I mean, he knows.
Right.
Dylan knows.
Right.
And Gabby knows.
Right. And Delores will know at that point too.
And Delores voting for Ivar.
I assume.
Yeah.
I assume.
I think Dylan can easily convince
it's
Gabby that it's Britney, not Delores.
Yeah, it's Britney and Danielle, and they should know that.
Yeah.
And they should know how numbers work, and they need to get them out.
They should know how numbers work. Yes, because you can't have the traitors.
Yep.
And for whatever. And I think it's going to depend whoever is the seer. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I know. That's going to change a lot.
Some difference.
I think that's
sure.
the hardest part about doing the top 3 this week is we don't get to see who's out. We don't get to see the seer, but
by looking at this, what I see now, I think that I'm getting, going back to my original.
Yeah.
I think that Gabby and Dylan have a chance to win this.
I think so too.
I do not think it's going to be a traitor. I don't think Delores makes it down there at all.
Mm-hmm.
Ivar could, I guess. But I do think that if one of those guys do, I think Dylan is enough of a games person that he will talk to whoever else is in there. Probably Gabby, who I think he thinks for sure is okay now.
Right.
And then
especially if Danielle loses here and ends up being revealed as the traitor.
And then they and talk to them and get the other traitor or the other even knockout. Even if there's 3, there's no traitors at the end, and there's 3 faithfuls. I think he might just talk to somebody and try to get the other faithful out.
Yeah. If we get up on this game and we're both traitors, I'm going to turn on you so hard. I'm going to turn on you so hard.
I already know that. Yeah, I've learned that
the hard way.
Yeah. So I'm going to go. You know what? I'm going to give it a Britney third.
Yep.
I'll let her come in. Britney third. I'm going to say Dylan and Gabby.
Yep. Gabby 1, Dylan 2,
yeah.
Britney 3.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Ichiban Gabby, number 1. Guys, I am excited to see how this plays out. Let me tell you, I yelled, son of a bitch, when they cut off the episode. I knew they were going to do it to us, and I was pissed. But I always think they're going to, and then this is the first time they actually did.
This episode was very... there's a lot of strategy in this episode.
It was
could have been done, should have been done.
Yes, there's different ways to play. I feel like this was one of the best ones to break down.
I'm very...
This was one of my favorite episodes. Gabby's great.
Gabby killed it on her defense.
By the way,
she's gonna come in this and not.
I did say I would come back around to this, and Danielle said she was going to annihilate, devastate, and obliterate Gabby, and we have finished the round table, and Gabby has received a whopping 0 fucking votes. Good job, Danielle. You crushed it. You crushed it.
Not
obliterated.
Not only did Gabby win, she made Danielle
devastated.
Decide to vote some weird freaking direction.
She fucked the whole annihilated.
That's how much
Gabby.
How much she
Queen.
Annihilated Gabby.
Thank you guys again for following along with us as we watch The Traitors US Season 3. It's on Peacock right now. We are the Master Traitors, but we also have a few other podcasts. We have the Bottom Boys Cast, where we get to the bottom of everything. We recently did one where we talk about nonverbal communication. It's extra funny. We lean on the funny, but we do talk about real things, too. And then we also are on social media right now. Follow us at Arson Club KC. I am the Snake Daddy, the Shit Poster Supreme, Matt Keck. Alongside me, it's the light of my life,
Paul. You're my person Shields.
And I don't understand how numbers work, but I think that makes this a later Traitors.